My usually considerate daughter and son seemed to have recently entered a rebellious phase. The meal I worked hard to prepare was thrown in my face by my daughter, who complained it tasted awful. My son is even more indifferent. Even when I had a fever of 39 degrees, he was still focused on playing games. I begged him to get me some medicine, but he impatiently said, "Wait, I'm pushing the tower. Can't you see I'm busy? Why are you being so dramatic?" In the evening, when my husband came home, I couldn't help but cry and complain. He pushed me away with a look of disgust and told me to go to sleep early, saying we had work tomorrow. I found myself in a strange predicament. Everyone gives me the cold shoulder, no matter how much I try to please them. Even my parents, after hearing my complaints, just blamed me for being overly sensitive and worrying about trivial matters all day. I don't know what happened, until that day, my birthday, when I returned home full of joy. Son-in-law, are you sure that giving her the cold shoulder will make her leave this house on her own? Yes, Dad. When will Mom become so disheartened that she asks you for a divorce? I really want Aunt Gu to come to our house soon. As I stepped over the threshold with the cake, I heard the sound of noisy chatter coming from inside the room. It seems everyone has come for my birthday. I feel inexplicably happy and lean in closer to hear what they're saying. Son-in-law, if we give her the cold shoulder like this, will she leave on her own to make room for Ruru? Yes, Dad, I've treated Mom so badly, yet she still refuses to leave. It's really annoying. TSK, she's so overly sensitive. Can't she just get lost already? I was just feeling happy. But suddenly it felt like I was struck by lightning, and countless black spots seemed to swirl before my eyes. That voice actually came from my family. I blinked in confusion, thinking there was something wrong with my ears, but my daughter's voice continued. Aunt Gu is young and beautiful, so much better than Mom. I've always wanted a new mom. Gu, she's the adopted daughter in our family. I froze for a moment, suddenly feeling a chill run through my entire body. Because she's the orphan of my father's comrade-in-arms. Our whole family has always cherished her dearly. Back then, we were poor, and my bowl was always filled with plain rice. But hers was piled high with meat. My fingers trembled, and tears silently streamed down my cheeks. Click, I turned the doorknob, and the people inside were startled, all turning to look at me. Honey, why are you back? You didn't hear anything just now, did you? Jiang Chunhao was the first to react, smiling as he stepped forward. His expression was very calm, almost showing no sign of guilt. The daughter and son, after all, were still young and showed a bit of unease. They turned their heads away, not daring to look at me. I wiped away my tears and pretended to be relaxed. What are you guys doing behind my back? Are you planning a surprise? The man saw the cake in my hand, immediately rolled his eyes, and said with a grin, "Yes, honey, you caught us, is that so, Chichi, Lele?" I didn't respond but instead looked at my silent children. The son stiffened for a moment, then said impatiently, "I prepared a surprise for you, and you're not even happy about it." Exactly. The daughter nodded in agreement. At that moment, my heart finally broke, and I turned to leave. Jiang Chunhao immediately stood up and grabbed me. "Honey, where are you going?" I happened to notice the bracelet on his wrist. It matched the one in Gu-ru's social media photo. The style was very similar, cute and delicate. I suddenly remembered the joke I made with Jiang Chunhao a few days ago. "Honey, why aren't you wearing your watch anymore? Are you trying to go for the cute and innocent look now?" When I went out to dinner with Jiang Chunhao that evening, I quickly noticed that he had taken off that Patek Philippe and instead put on a playful, childlike bracelet. I couldn't help but tease him about it. "I just bought it on a whim because it looked cute," he said, pausing for a moment before casually pulling down his sleeve. His tone was natural, as if he had really just picked it up randomly. But it turned out, it was actually a matching set with Gu-ru's wife. "What are you thinking about?" His voice brought me back to reality. The man cautiously probed, afraid that I might notice something amiss. I looked at Jiang Chunhao's guilty eyes and suddenly smiled. Unlike the cold neglect of the past few days, he was now almost fawning in his efforts to protect Gu-ru. "Mom, let's have some cake." My daughter tugged at my sleeve, looking pitiful. If it were yesterday, I might have been overjoyed. After all, it had been a long time since my daughter had spoken to me properly. But now, I just feel disheartened. She wasn't being nice to me because it was my birthday, she just didn't want me to notice anything unusual. I'm hungry, hurry up and cut the cake." At that moment, my son also raised his head and pushed me out of the bedroom. I almost burst into tears at his demanding behavior, searching my conscience. I know I haven't treated them poorly. I can even say without exaggeration that I would die for my children, but fate has not gone as I wished. My own flesh and blood now hurts me for the sake of another woman. They didn't hesitate to neglect and deceive me, just to make me take the initiative to file for divorce. They never considered how heartbroken I would be. At the dinner table, each of us was preoccupied with our own thoughts. When it was time to sing the birthday song, Jiang Chunhao smiled and took the lead in clapping. I stared at the candle and made a wish for my 35th birthday. I want to shake them off and live for myself. After my birthday, they saw that I was acting normal and started to ignore me again. For the first time, I felt like a joke. Having lived for over 30 years, not only did my husband cheat, but my children didn't stand by me either. I don't know where it all started to go wrong. The scene of Jiang Chunhao confessing to me at 18 is still vivid in my mind. In his blue and white school uniform, with sharp eyes and brows, his smile full of unrestrained boldness and confidence. "Hey, Xuejing, I will always be good to you." He said it so seriously, that expression I've seen countless times when I was being bullied at school. When I cried in frustration over not knowing how to solve a problem, the young man would help me with a serious look on his face. So, I naively believed the other person's promise. Later on, when my birthday arrived, Jiang Chunhao suddenly mysteriously pulled me to the edge of a cliff. Just as I was puzzled, he gestured for me to look down, and below was a vast expanse of roses covering the mountains and fields. The vibrant red lit up half the sky like fire. The man knelt on one knee, holding out the ring. "Xuejing, ever since the day I fell for you, I've come here every day to plant a rose. Now there are 1,000 of them. Will you marry me?" His tone was so devout, as if the world would end the next second. I looked into his affectionate eyes and couldn't help but feel a lump in my throat. Slowly, I extended my hand, letting him slip the ring onto my finger. But back then, I was too young to realize that promises made so easily would not last forever. Later, we naturally got married. Under the sky full of petals, he lifted the veil and kissed me devoutly. After marriage, we had a pair of adorable twins, a boy and a girl. The children are all thoughtful and sensible, and Jiang Chunhao is still as clingy to me as he was in his youth. We are the perfect couple in everyone's eyes, and our family is the model family in everyone's hearts. Not coming home for dinner today. Suddenly, the sound of the message brought me back to reality. This was already the 10th time since they started using the cold shoulder to make me back off. I haven't seen Jiang Chunhao at the family dining table again. Once, I only thought he was busy. Now that I think about it, he was probably having dinner with Ji Ru, right? Jiang Chunhao came home late at night. He didn't greet me first, but went straight to take a shower. Scrolling through my phone, my finger paused when I saw Ji Ru's WeChat Moments post. "Today my boyfriend used the strawberry flavor, and it was so delicious, but I already said I couldn't eat anymore, yet he kept pushing me. So annoying." There were no likes below. I couldn't help but clench my fist, my nails digging deep into my palm. This was sent to me alone. Holding my breath, I opened Jiang Chunhao's briefcase. It wasn't until I saw that strawberry-flavored condom that the self-deception in my heart finally shattered. Trembling, I tucked it back in, tears sliding down my cheeks. At this moment, the children's rebellion, the parents' sarcasm, and the pain of betrayal all converged into a blade. It pierced my heart deeply. By the time Jiang Chunhao came out, I had already dried my tears and hidden under the covers. He lay down beside me. We didn't say a word, like the most familiar strangers. I secretly saw that he had saved Ji Ru's contact as darling baby princess. He patiently replied to every message from the other person. Thinking of my own screen filled with green messages, I let out a bitter laugh. The end of the desire to share marks the beginning of parting. The next day, while I was at work, I suddenly received a call from a friend. "Jingjing, you got divorced. Her question left me completely baffled, and I responded with a confused, "Just watch the video yourself." After saying that, she hung up the phone and sent me a video. The background was an elementary school, probably during a sports event, and the main characters in the video were actually Jiang Chunhao, Jiyu Ru, and my children. "There's a sports meet today, but no one informed me." Suddenly, I felt a chill all over and continued watching with a heavy heart. The teacher was asking my daughter, "Chichi, is this your mom?" "Yes." She proudly lifted her head, holding Jiyu Ru tightly and refusing to let go. "Isn't my mom pretty?" Teacher, it's my turn now." Her son anxiously circled around. Leaning toward the microphone, the teacher smiled and said, "Well, little Lele, can you tell us your wish?" "My wish is to become dad. That way, I can kiss mom every day." He blurted out eagerly, his childish words making everyone present burst into laughter. Jiang Chunhao and Jiyu Ru exchanged a glance, then smiled and gave each other a peck on the lips. To anyone looking, it was a happy family of four. After watching the video, I was lost in thought for a long time. Usually, with work being busy, it's Jiang Chunhao who attends the parent-teacher meetings, so he was certain that no teacher knew me. That's why he dared to call Jiyu Ru over. "Right, my husband." Holding another woman and kissing her, "My child," affectionately calling the other woman mom. I feel like I've become the biggest joke in the world. Facing my friend's inquiry, I managed to respond with a few words, but my eyes were already red. Returning home, I collapsed onto the floor as if drained of strength. Looking around the living room, everywhere were traces of the life Jiang Chunhao and I had shared, the plaster dolls we made together, our couple photo stickers, the matching rings he made for me. How did it come to this? I don't know how long I sat there before Jiang Chunhao finally brought his daughter and son back home. "Chichi, Lele," I called out to them, then I spoke softly. "Has there been any activity at school recently?" I stared intently at their expressions, not wanting to miss a single clue. At the same time, I prayed helplessly in my heart, "Please, tell mom the truth. What's it to you?" "No." The thoughtless reply instantly shattered my defenses. I would have forgiven them if only they had told me the truth. "That's good," I said, holding back my tears, then went back to my room and closed the door. The sorrow of these days has overwhelmed me completely. Holding my knees, I cried silently, my heart breaking into pieces. Finally, I made up my mind and dialed a phone number. "Jiyu Ru has recently been taking the civil service exam. Hello, is this the inspection team? I want to report Jiyu Ru for meddling in someone else's marriage under my real name." On the third day after the report call was made, Jiyu Ru's political review indeed ran into problems. She barged into my house in a fit of rage just as I was trimming Jiang Chunhao's favorite plant on the balcony. "Shui Jing. Was it you?" Her meticulously made-up face twisted with anger as she clutched the notice of her failed political screening. "Do you have any idea how long I've been waiting for this opportunity?" The scissors snipped through the branch with a crisp sound. Without looking up, I said, "Little sister, you need evidence to back up your words. Who else could it be but you?" She shrieked hysterically, completely shedding the gentle facade she always put on in front of Jiang Chunhao. "You've been jealous of me since we were kids, always wishing the worst for me, haven't you?" Hearing this, I finally turned around, looked at her flushed face, and sneered, "I'm jealous of you. Jiyu Ru, can you stop being so ungrateful?" I threw the pruned branches into the trash can, my expression full of sarcasm. "Since we were kids, I've always given way to you. Our parents said you were the younger sister and needed to be taken care of. So I shared everything I had with you. So what? Isn't that how it should be? My dad saved your dad's life. Your whole family should be repaying the favor." Jiyu Ru lifted her head arrogantly, looking down her nose at me. There wasn't a trace of gratitude in her words, only a sense of entitlement toward everything we had done for her over the years. I was taken aback. Even though I knew she had no sense of shame, I never expected her to say something like this. "Our family should repay a debt of gratitude. So that's your excuse for meddling in someone else's marriage?" These words struck Jiyu Ru like a heavy hammer. A flicker of surprise crossed her eyes. She clearly hadn't expected that I had long known about her affair with Jiang Chunhao. After all, the inspection team only vaguely mentioned issues with personal conduct, without explicitly stating the real reason. You know everything." The woman trembled, involuntarily taking a few steps back. I backed her into the corner, our noses almost touching, and blew a puff of hot breath onto her pretty face. "What are you referring to? That you and Jiang Chunhao prefer strawberry-flavored condoms, or that my children call you Mom?" With every word I spoke, Ji Ru's face grew paler. She wanted to explain but didn't know where to start. In the end, she gritted her teeth and snapped at me. "Chunhao and I are truly in love. Who else can you blame, you old hag, for failing to hold his heart? Ha, true love, how laughable. I've long seen through Jiang Chunhao's true colors. Today he can plant 1,000 roses for me, and tomorrow he'll climb a snowy mountain and sing for someone else. He treats sincerity as a pastime and romance as a game. After all the twists and turns, the one he truly loves is still himself. Think whatever you want." I let go of Ji Ru and resumed trimming my green plants. As the branches and leaves fell one after another, my love for Jiang Chunhao seemed to be fading away as well. Behind me, Ji Ru was still chattering incessantly, trying to hurt me with her words to gain the upper hand. "Sister, do you know how fierce Chunhao is in bed? Every time, he doesn't stop even when I beg for mercy." "Oh, you probably don't know. After all, it's been a long time since you two had a married life, right?" I turned a deaf ear, feeling unusually calm inside. It wasn't until I heard my children's names that my hand, which was trimming the flowers, finally paused. Seeing that I had a reaction, Ji Ru immediately pressed her advantage. "Chichi and Lele both really like me. They keep clamoring for me to be their new mom. Sorry about that. Sis, what are you trying to do?" Ji Ru suddenly widened her eyes in terror as I grabbed her by the neck. "Shut up if you don't want your face slapped to a pulp. You crazy woman." She struggled to breathe, glaring at me with difficulty. Her eyes were filled with fear. I slowly let go of her and smiled. "Don't mess with me." In the following days, Ji Ru behaved much more quietly and didn't pester Jiang Chunhao anymore. He started coming home on time. Faced with a man's deliberate act of ignoring me, I just pretend not to see it, cook only one serving of food, then go to the living room to watch TV after eating. After several days without a hot meal, Jiang Chunhao finally snapped. "Shui Jing, where are the children's meals? How can you call yourself a mother?" Jiang Chunhao has always been like this, clearly wanting to eat himself. Yet he shifts all the blame onto others. Once, I was blinded by love and selectively ignored all his imperfections. They never eat when they come back. I casually switched channels. During that time when he neglected me, Jiang Chunhao would take Ji Ru to buy snacks for their children after work. Those things are unhealthy, usually made with gutter oil, so I rarely let them eat. Unexpectedly, this became another psychological comfort for their bias towards Ji Ru. "Mom, I hate you. You're the bad woman who doesn't feed us." The young voice interrupted the standoff between me and Jiang Chunhao. I turned to look at my son, Shen Tsongan. His small face was full of disgust. "Not like Aunt Ji, who is so good to us." This is not the first time I've heard such words. But I used to think it was just my aunt doting on the child, so it was okay to spoil them a little. Little did I know, there was a heartbreaking truth hidden behind it all. In that case, go find Aunt Ji. After saying that, I didn't even glance at my son again and continued watching TV. "Mom," my son called out in disbelief. "This is not like my usual self." Back then, I took care of them meticulously, never giving up even when they disliked it. I still checked in on them every day, asking about their well-being. It's nothing like today's cold and distant attitude, as if they were strangers. "Mom, I'm hungry." My daughter came running over and rested her head on my lap. She always knows how to soften my heart, blinking her big, watery eyes at me, but I kept a cold face and didn't look at her, so she reluctantly stood up. Jiang Chunhao couldn't stand it any longer. "Shui Jing, if you're angry, take it out on me." "Okay, what's the point of taking it out on a child?" I glanced at him indifferently. Now he knows what it feels like to be given the cold shoulder, doesn't he? Seeing that I remained silent, the man felt as if he had punched cotton. He cursed angrily, "Damn it," and slammed the door shut, saying, "I'm going to the office to work overtime. I looked at the two children, sighed, and gave them some money. If you're hungry, go buy something to eat yourselves. Then, I lay on the bed, looking at the messages sent to me by the private investigator. He is tailing Jiang Chunhao. I need to gather more evidence in my favor to ensure a fair division of assets. Sure enough, I soon saw what I wanted to see. Jiang Chunhao picked up the drunken Jiu Ru from the bar, and the two began kissing passionately on the street, completely oblivious to anyone around them. My stomach churned, and I nearly threw up. After that, they went to a hotel, and I could easily guess what would happen next. Jiang Chunhao didn't return until midnight, smelling of alcohol, with faint red marks on the neck. Weren't you supposed to be working overtime? I asked, already knowing the answer. He paused, his gaze evasive. Of course I was working overtime. I stared at him in silence. He grew impatient. I just had a few drinks with some colleagues who hadn't left yet. Is it really necessary for you to be so suspicious? Still lying. I took a deep breath and pulled up the video. I threw both the phone and the divorce papers in front of him. After you finish watching, remember to sign the divorce agreement. Jiang Chunhao's expression changed slightly. Jingjing, let me explain. Jiu Ru is drunk, after all. She is your sister. I can't just leave her outside alone. He softened his tone, trying to hug me. I pushed him away forcefully. Let's get a divorce. Jiang Chunhao was furious and embarrassed. Believe it or not, it's so amusing that you're jealous of your own sister. Besides, you actually had someone follow me. Do we not even have the most basic trust between us? Once again, turning the tables, I suddenly felt a bit weary, closing my eyes and leaning back on the sofa. Think whatever you want, just sign it. I won't sign. I've been taking good care of you, and you have the nerve to pick a fight with me. Jiang Chunhao slammed the divorce agreement onto the ground. Go make me some sobering tea. I looked at him, feeling utterly unfamiliar. Actually, he hasn't been the person I loved for a long time. I was just lost in the beautiful memories of the past, deceiving myself. When the last bit of illusion shattered, I felt unusually calm instead. I picked up the agreement and handed it to him again. I don't need you to support me. I just want a divorce. Jiang Chunhao's face darkened. Shuejing, can you stop making a scene? It's not good for a woman to be so overly sensitive. He still thinks I'm making a scene, not reflecting on himself at all. I let out a scornful laugh, fiddling with my nails without looking at him. Hey, are you even listening to me? He furrowed his brows and tightened his grip on my wrist. I struggled to break free. I said, divorce. Jiang Chunhao was infuriated by my words and let out a bitter laugh. Suddenly standing up and sweeping everything off the table, the cup shattered with a crisp sound. Fine, let's get divorced. I'd like to see how you'll survive without me, if you have the guts. Pack your things and leave right now. So I started packing my luggage right in front of him. He clearly wanted to stop me but couldn't bring himself to swallow his pride, so he kept hurling harsh words at me. If you leave, don't ever come back. I took one last look around the home I had lived in for over a decade, and suddenly felt a wave of emotion. All marriages, in the end, conclude in tragedy. Hearing the commotion, the children all ran out. Mom, where are you going? Will you come back? Perhaps seeing that I was about to leave, my daughter could no longer maintain her cold expression and looked at me with pleading eyes. It's just a pity that all the tenderness in my heart had long been worn away. I said coldly, this is none of your business. After saying that, I grabbed my suitcase and prepared to leave. Hey, my son called out to stop me. He bit his lip, his little face full of reluctance, yet he forced himself not to show it. If you leave, I'll never acknowledge you as my mom again. I laughed, crouching down to look at him, word by word, but with unwavering firmness. It's not about whether you acknowledge me or not, it's that I don't want you anymore. His face instantly turned deathly pale, and he stammered, trying to say something but unable to get the words out. I waved my hand, both as a farewell to them and to the foolish version of myself from the past. I dragged my suitcase out of the neighborhood. And the sky was already completely dark. The night wind made me shiver, and I realized my hands had been trembling all along. My phone suddenly vibrated. It was a message from Jiang Chunhao. It's not too late to come back now. Don't make things awkward for everyone. I let out a cold laugh and turned it off directly. I hailed a taxi and gave my best friend's address. "Miss, moving so late at night?" the driver asked, looking at me through the rearview mirror. Gazing at the scenery flying by outside the window, I said softly, "Yes, starting a new life." When my best friend Lin Yang opened the door, she was startled. "Oh my God, Jingjing, how did you?" Before I could finish my words, she hugged me tightly, smelling the familiar scent of perfume. I finally broke down and cried. Lin Yang didn't ask anything, just gently patted my back. "It's okay, I'm here." After I had cried enough, she pulled me to sit on the sofa. "Was it that bastard Jiang Chunhao who bullied you?" I nodded and told her everything that had happened during this time. Lin Yang was so angry she slammed the table. I knew it, that Ji Ru never looked like a good person from the start. Suddenly remembering something, she pulled out her phone. "By the way, yesterday I saw Jiang Chunhao and Ji Ru at the mall. In the photo, Jiang Chunhao has his arm around Ji Ru's waist as they select rings at a jewelry counter. This is a declaration of war against you," Lin Yang said through gritted teeth. I stared at the photo for a long time before suddenly smiling. "Perfect, I was just worried I didn't have enough evidence." Early the next morning, I went straight to the law firm. The lawyer, after reviewing the evidence I provided, adjusted his glasses. "The situation is very favorable for us. But the child custody, I don't want the child," I said calmly. The lawyer was stunned. "But, if they chose Ji Ru, then let them have it." Stepping out of the law firm, I took a deep breath. The sunlight warmed my face, a long-lost feeling of comfort. The divorce proceedings went more smoothly than I had imagined. Jiang Chunhao initially tried to win me back, showing up at my office building every day with gifts. It wasn't until I presented him with the hotel check-in records of him and Ji Ru that he finally gave up. "Shui Jing, you knew all along." His face turned deathly pale. "Five-star hotels are expensive, aren't they?" I didn't answer directly, instead shaking the bill in my hand. "Using our joint account to pay for the room." "Jiang Chunhao, you disgust me. I want half of our marital assets, and the child goes to you." I looked him straight in the eyes. His face darkened. "You planned this all along, didn't you?" "I can't compare to how early you planned," I sneered. "In the end, I got the property I deserved, along with a portion of the company's shares, on the day I signed the papers." Jiang Chunhao suddenly called out to me, "Jingjing, actually, don't disgust me." I left without looking back. He left in the end, taking half of the property with him. Ji Ru was also dismissed from her job due to misconduct and now relies entirely on Jiang Chunhao for support. As for Chichi and Lele, they live with them. "It's not that I'm heartless, but I need time to heal. The harm they once caused me is not something that can be forgiven overnight. Mom, I'm sorry." Before leaving, Chichi hugged me, crying. I patted her head. "Be good and follow your dad." I didn't say I forgave her, nor did I say I didn't. Some wounds need time to slowly heal. I rented an apartment and found a new job. Every day, I work out, read books, and learn baking. My life has never been more fulfilling. Lin Yang said I was glowing all over. 6 months later, I ran into my daughter at the supermarket. She has lost a lot of weight, and her eyes lit up when she saw me. "Mom," I nodded politely. "Hello." Her eyes immediately reddened. "Mom, I miss you so much. Is Aunt Ji not treating you well?" I asked deliberately. The daughter suddenly burst into tears. She only treats Dad well and doesn't care about us at all." It turned out that after Ji Ru married into the family, she immediately showed her true colors. No longer pretending to be gentle, she would either hit or scold the children. Jiang Chunhao was so absorbed in his new marriage that he paid no attention to family matters. "Mom, can I live with you?" My daughter tugged at the corner of my clothes. I gently moved her hand away. "I'm sorry, but I'm doing just fine on my own right now." As I turned to leave, my eyes felt a little warm. "But I have no regrets. Some wounds cannot be erased with a simple apology." 3 more months passed, and I received a call from the hospital. Jiang Chunhao had been in a car accident. When I rushed to the hospital, Ji Ru was arguing with the doctor. "I don't have the money. Go ask his ex-wife for it." Seeing me, she looked as if she had found a savior. "Sister, you're here. I'll go ahead and leave then." With that, she ran off in her high heels. On the hospital bed, Jiang Chunhao had both legs in casts, looking so haggard he was barely recognizable. Jingjing. He called out weakly to me, I've already paid the medical bills. I put down my bag. Just say what you want to say. He was silent for a long time. I'm sorry, I interrupted him. Back then, when you said you'd plant a rose every day, I really believed you. I thought that was forever. Only later did I realize that forever is too far away, so far that you can't see it, and you can't wait for it. Jiang Chunhao's tears streamed down. Give me another chance. No, I stood up. I came to see you only because I once loved you, but now, I love myself more. As I stepped out of the hospital, the sunlight was just right. I took a deep breath and dialed Lin Yang's number. Let's have dinner tonight. My treat. After hanging up, I walked briskly toward the parking lot. A new life is just beginning. 3 years later, my bakery opened its third branch. After the divorce, I rekindled my college dream and enrolled in a French pastry-making course. The journey from being a housewife to a business owner has been challenging yet fulfilling. Boss Shui, someone is here to see you. The shop assistant poked her head in. I looked up and saw Jiang Chunhao standing at the door, holding Keek and Leilei's hands. He had aged a lot, and the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes were impossible to hide. Mom, the children ran over, excitedly showing me their certificates. We ranked in the top 10 in our grade. I smiled and ruffled their heads. That's amazing. Keep up the good work with your studies. Jiang Chunhao stood awkwardly. Shuijing, can I talk to you alone? After asking the staff to take the children to sample the new products, I poured him a cup of coffee. Jiyu Ru and I are divorced. He lowered his head. She ran off with a wealthy businessman. Only now do I realize how wrong I was. I let you down. I wasn't surprised. A woman like Jiyu Ru would never be content with a life of hardship. The children miss you so much. He continued, I do too. Could you come back to us? We promise we won't make the same mistakes again. Jiang Chunhao, I interrupted him. Do you know why I was able to move on so quickly? He shook his head in confusion. Because when I look back on our marriage, I realize you haven't been the boy who planted roses for me for a long time, I said calmly. And I shouldn't be the foolish girl who gave her all for a single promise anymore. The sunlight outside the window was just right, shining on the ring mark on my ring finger, where his wedding ring once rested. Now only a faint trace remains. I wish you happiness, I said finally, but your happiness should no longer include me. Later, I heard that Jiang Chunhao took the children to another city. Kiki and Leilei call me every week to share their lives. The bond of blood cannot be severed, but we have all learned to maintain a proper distance. As for Jiyu Ru, the wealthy businessman dumped her after he got tired of her. She contracted a venereal disease and now works as a hostess in a KTV. Nowadays, I wake up every day to the aroma of bread, watching the sunlight filter through the sheer curtains into the shop. Occasionally, I still think of the roses from that year when I was 21, but my heart no longer stirs. Some loves are like the branches I pruned. They appear lush, but in reality, they were already rotten, and all I have to do is cut away the rotten parts. Allowing new shoots to grow and bask in the sunlight. For the rest of my life, I will live for myself, live brilliantly and clearly, live happily and lucidly, no longer draining myself over anything, only acting in accordance with my true heart. Come on, Shuijing.